is Akeena Lofters. Akeena is being advised by Professor Judy Kroll and postdoctoral student Kinsey Weiss. Akeena went to Tarragona, Spain. She's majoring in Asian studies with minors in linguistics and Korean. And the title of her presentation is More or When, examining the effects of number of languages known and the age of acquisition on new language learning.
Hello, my name is Akeena Lofters, and as I said before, for this project I'm interested in whether or not the number of languages known versus the age of acquisition, or the age of acquisition is beneficial to language learning. So this summer I had the wonderful opportunity to go to Tarragona, Spain, where I was able to work with Pilar Ferrer and her other colleagues. And although I spent really long hours in the lab, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, being able to experience the culture and the food and just being a part of like the lab was working with such amazing people was a very humbling and great experience, and like I will cherish it for a very long time. So as you can imagine, Tarragona is a very beautiful place and has a very long history, but it's also home to a very interesting demographic where people there are both early and late bilinguals. That is, speakers can have Catalan or Spanish as their L1, and typically English is their L3. And it is for this reason why Tarragona is the great place for my research. So my research questions for my project is knowing more than one language beneficial to language learning? Are you a better language learner the more languages you know? And is there anything via their L1 crucial to demonstrating an advantage in word learning? So past research has found that early adult bilinguals outperform monolinguals in novel word learning tasks, which suggests that knowing more languages is beneficial to language learning. In another study, it was also found that the bilingual advantage is only true when learning occurs via the L1. So the participants that I had for this study, I had 4 groups. I had monolinguals in State College, and also Spanish English bilinguals and Spanish English heritage speakers, and also trilinguals in Tarragona. For this task, I will only focus on the critical. For this presentation, I will focus on the critical tasks that I conducted, which was that I taught my participants Dutch words, and later they were tested on them. For the Dutch words that I taught, I gave them 50 Dutch words with 3 repetitions, and half the Dutch words were cognates across all 4 languages, and there were also the other half was non-cognates across all 4 languages. And for the Dutch test, which is basically simply an exposition task, the participant had to press yes or no if the word they saw was a Dutch word that they learned. So this is how the task worked. The participant saw a plus sign followed by the Dutch word, and then followed by the English or Spanish translation. For the case in the participants in Spain, the Spanish translation, and they simply just had to say the translation of the word. And here are just some examples of the cognates that I had and the non-cognates. And as you can see, the non-words in the Dutch test, they were both Dutch-like and English-like. It is important to note that for the trilinguals, I only half were given the training in their dominant language, because the task was only give translations in Spanish and not in Catalan. For the patients that I had for the Dutch training, so previous research is specifically Carrie Bogowski, which my research is a replica of, found that trilinguals and bilinguals, although they're slow at studying the novel words, only if these participants learn the Dutch words through their L1 do they show an advantage at tests. So from this, I predicted that if the time to study the new Dutch words, the new words in training reflects a self-regulation strategy only available to bilinguals, then the bilinguals learning through their native language should show advantage. Keep in mind that the trilinguals were only half were taught in their native language. And for the Dutch test, Dutch proficiency test, I predicted that if bilinguals are better learners, regardless of their experience, multilingual groups in Tarragona and in the US should outperform monolinguals. And a previous study found, that was published this year, found that early and late bilinguals outperform monolinguals in word learning. However, early bilinguals show a great advantage. So I predicted that if age of acquisition alone is responsible for the advantage, then only the Tarragona trilinguals would have an advantage in word learning. So this chart is a representation of the training response times. I did not include the accuracy because it was training, and overall all groups had a high accuracy. So the y-axis shows the mean response latency, and the x-axis shows the non-cognate and cognates for all groups. So from this, I found that there was cognate facilitation in all groups. The largest was for the multilingual groups, and that training, as I said before, everyone had all multilingual groups named translation were slower, but they were more accurate than monolinguals. And for the Dutch vocabulary test, this chart shows the cognate and non-cognate words across all the mean accuracy of the cognate and non-cognate and non-words across all groups. And overall, there was cognate advantage at tests for all groups. However, the trilinguals were the least accurate when responding to non-cognates, and this is actually the fact that only half were given a task in their native language. So while I was there, Pilar Ferrer, she introduced a task, which is a disregard task. Simply, at the end of the study, participants were given a sheet of the 50 Dutch words that were taught in random order, and they just had to write the translations of the words that they saw. Overall, my Spanish and English bilinguals performed better. Since this task was performed in Spain, it was given in Spain, I currently do not have enough monolingual data to represent them. But later I will test more people to provide that data. So what does this all mean? So initially, when I conducted this experiment, I thought that trilinguals would outperform all monolinguals and bilinguals overall. However, although normal languages is true, if the non-words, if the non-words are not taught via their L1, this advantage is not true. And also, and finally, not all bilinguals experience are the same. Not all bilingual experience produce the same consequences. So, and I want to thank everyone that helped me with this study, especially Julie Kroll, Kinsey Bice, Pilar Ferrer, and Rhonda McLean. And finally, the NFS Aspire for giving me this opportunity to go to Tarragona.
Time for questions, Clara.
Can you go back to your bar plots, please?
Which one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So, the fact that the Catalan-Spanish trilinguals did really badly, I agree, suggests that you need to be learning through, is consistent with the story that you need to learn through L1. But the fact that the Spanish-Catalan trilinguals also didn't do so well, I think is suggestive, because they were learning through their L1, and they learned, and yet they still didn't do so great. So do you think that this is the case where, in fact, more is worse?
That could also be the case. But I also conducted other tasks as well. So like, I haven't gotten a chance to look at that. So I'm not sure if those tasks will provide any other data that supports the reasons why they were bad at tests.
questions? Thank you very much.